All right, now moving on, the Kenyan Attorney General insists there will be no constitutional crisis whatsoever should fresh presidential elections fail to take place, and there is no room for a caretaker government thereafter. Professor Githu Muigai maintains that from the day a general election is declared to the day a new president is sworn in, government is continuous and there can be no vacuum or void. But in a quick rejoinder, NASA principals rubbished the AG's position, stating that he was merely speaking his master's voice.
On Wednesday night, NASA's legal team raised a red flag on what they termed as a looming constitutional crisis in the event things don't fall in place with regard to fresh presidential election that must be held by 1st November as per Constitution.
The country may be bordering on a constitutional crisis of grave proportion.
However, the Attorney General, who is government's legal advisor, sought to set the record straight, saying it is his duty to clarify the law so that the public may be informed on correct constitutional position.
The legitimacy and the constitutional legitimacy of the government cannot be questioned because it is preserved by the Constitution itself. There is no void, there is no lacuna, and there is no room for the creation of any other form of government or authority.
As to who takes charge after the lapse of 60 days in November, should fresh elections fail to take place, he says,
there is no government known to the Constitution of Kenya called a transitional government or a caretaker government or any other form of government other than that is defined in this Constitution. And I would like the Kenyan public to know, therefore, that until a fresh government is sworn in, which includes the president, the deputy, and their cabinet, the government now in office legitimately remains in office by full force of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya.
It is a stand that has been dismissed by NASA's legal minds, terming AG's communication as misguided.
The Attorney General is evidently being his master's voice. What he's saying clearly shows how he is misreading or not reading at all the provisions of the Constitution. President Uhuru today is a caretaker president. The Supreme Court ordered for a repeat election in 60 days, expiring on 1st November. After 1st November, there will be no President Uhuru. What the Constitution then provides for, and you can read it very carefully, is a provision that then makes the Speaker of the National Assembly a caretaker president for 90 days to have elections. If we don't have elections within 60 days of the Supreme Court ruling, then that is the path to follow. Githu Muigai is no fool. He's simply being mischievous and dishonest. And we want to tell him not to play that game on Kenyans. Tell Kenyans the truth, because when you keep on asserting that a lame, dark caretaker president is in full authority, everybody wonders what the word full authority means.
With regard to what is being referred to as an impending constitutional crisis, should fresh elections fail to take place by November 1st, Githu Muigai says there is no cause for alarm.
Let us assume in the remotest possibility that the election is held and is not held on that day. Then the election must be held on a day following that is appointed by the Electoral Commission, guided by the Supreme Court and the other organs. That is to say, the constitutionality of the governance structure in Kenya is not affected by the failure to act on that specific day. because in my understanding of the law, we are already within a cycle that will terminate on a date that is predictable. That is the date a fresh swearing in will be held.
IEBC has since moved the fresh presidential election date from Tuesday 17th to Thursday, October 26, but NASA still says there will be no election then. Duncan Hemba, KTN.